In a reimagined world where gargantuan tortoises, 1,000 times the size of humans, suddenly emerged from the depths of the earth, chaos erupted across the globe. Their enormous shells shimmered like armored fortresses as they slowly advanced, crushing everything in their path. News spread like wildfire that these colossal creatures had arrived, causing worldwide panic and disbelief. Cities were rendered into rubble overnight as the first wave of giant tortoises rampaged through metropolises. The death toll soared to over 3 million within the first week alone as governments scrambled to respond. Civilizations crumbled under the relentless assault, with iconic landmarks turned into piles of debris. Military forces worldwide mobilized, unleashing tanks, jets, and even nuclear options in a desperate bid to stop the behemoths. Yet their thick shells proved nearly impervious to traditional weapons, and the giant tortoises only grew more aggressive. Scientists speculated that these creatures had been dormant for centuries, awakened by mysterious seismic activity. Most experts believed that the tortoises' immense size gave them an evolutionary advantage, making them virtually unstoppable in direct confrontation. Despite the massive destruction, some communities devised innovative tactics using massive nets and seismic deterrents to steer the creatures away from population centers. However, the damage was already catastrophic, with entire cities flattened and vast swathes of farmland destroyed. The global economy collapsed as supply chains disintegrated and millions lost their homes and livelihoods. In the chaos, humanity faced a stark question: could we survive a war against creatures so vastly larger and stronger? The military strategists argued that conventional weapons were useless, and only novel, high-tech solutions could stand a chance. Attempts to detonate explosives beneath the tortoises' shells failed, bouncing harmlessly off the impenetrable armor. Amid the destruction, stories of heroism emerged, with some individuals risking everything to save others from the destruction. Survivors recounted terrifying encounters, describing the ground tremors and deafening roars of the giant tortoises. The government declared martial law in many countries, but chaos continued to spread unchecked. As weeks turned into months, humanity adapted, creating enormous robotic machines designed to incapacitate the giants. In a daring mission, a fleet of specially designed mechs managed to trap one of the largest tortoises, causing massive injuries but not death. The battle raged on, with each side suffering devastating losses and hopes for a quick victory fading fast. Scientists hypothesized that the tortoises' slow movement was their only weakness, and strategies evolved to exploit this flaw. Using seismic vibrations, military forces managed to lure the giants into traps or away from human settlements. Despite the fierce resistance, the war's toll was staggering, with more than 10 million lives lost worldwide. Lost cities like New York, Tokyo, and Paris were reduced to ghost towns, swallowed by debris and neglect. Famine and disease spread rapidly as supply chains broke down, with millions starving or succumbing to illness. The environmental impact was disastrous, with ecosystems decimated and species driven to extinction. In the midst of despair, some researchers discovered that the giant tortoises were vulnerable to certain high-frequency sonic weapons. Armed with this knowledge, humanity launched a final desperate assault with advanced sonic artillery, weakening the creatures enough to strike a lethal blow. The largest tortoise was finally subdued on what became known as Doom Day, marking a turning point in the war. The victory was bittersweet, as the world lay in ruins, scars of battle etched across the planet. Humanity was forced to rethink its relationship with nature, understanding that the giants were a consequence of environmental neglect and seismic upheavals. Rebuilding efforts were slow, but a new global alliance emerged, committed to preventing such disasters in the future. The tragic conflict served as a stark reminder of nature's power and humanity's fragility. Despite the devastation, stories of hope persisted, with survivors sharing tales of resilience and unity. In reimagining this world, it became clear that mankind's greatest strength was its ability to adapt and fight for survival against seemingly insurmountable odds. The war against the giant tortoises showed that, ultimately, cooperation and innovation were humanity's most potent weapons. The world would never forget the days when giant creatures threatened to swallow civilization, a shocking chapter in our history.